to open the meeting, and then if Mona jumps on.
I can do it. I've never done it before, but I'll give it a shot.
You're gonna do great.
All right. So with the hour being 7:31, we have to vote to open the meeting.
Yes, we should.
Okay, we'll vote to open the meeting. And so let's see, Rachel,
Aye.
Brenda,
Aye.
and I myself. Oh, and Mona is here.
Good evening, everyone. Did you guys start already?
We did.
Just started, Mona. Just started.
So sorry.
So we just voted to open the meeting. So I guess we'll vote with you, Mona.
Vote for what?
Well,
Just to open the meeting, just to make it official.
Oh, okay. So aye.
All right. That was, what was that? four.
That's 4-0-0. Yep, perfect.
All right, perfect. And so it looks like the first agenda item is the approval of the minutes for October 3rd, 2023. Any comments?
I didn't attend that meeting, but I didn't see anything wrong. Everything looks perfect.
Nothing on my end. Anyone? Actually, it's either, I think it was Rachel and Brenda, right? Both of you were here?
I didn't see anything wrong.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion?
I make a motion to accept the minutes from the Board of Health meeting on October 3rd, 2023.
Okay. And a second?
I can second.
All right. And a vote for approval. Rachel?
Aye.
Brenda?
Aye.
Mona?
I abstained because I wasn't in the
Oh, that's right.
meeting.
You abstain, yeah. And I will vote to approve the minutes. So that is 3-1-0. And so first, first agenda item is the animal permit for 8 Joel Ave.
Sure. So this is an animal permit at 8 Joel Ave for 8 penned animals, 8 chickens. We did have the animal inspector, Henry, go out on 9/26. He did report back that they had a great inspection. The setup looked good. They plan on doing composting for manure management. They did all their abutter notifications. We received all of those via certified mail. And you can see their coop here. And then I do think we have the applicants on the call, so I might pass it on to them to kind of introduce themselves and if they have any comments.
Hi, I'm Ryan Patrico, 8 Joel Ave. This is my wife, Andrea.
Hello.
Hello.
So we did have some abutter letters that we did share. I do see potentially Dave and Dave Clark as well. I don't know if you two at this want to share your full name and make comments to the board.
Sure. I'm David Giampa. I'm 11 Fern Drive. And my house is directly in back of 8 Joel. My backyard is directly in line with 8 Joel Ave.
Yeah, I'm Dave Clark, and I'm also on Fern. I'm across from Dave Giampa, and I did have a couple questions to pose whenever you're ready to have them addressed.
Sure. Yeah.
Go ahead, do that. My two questions were, one is that my understanding, looking at the zoning maps, is that the property 8 Joel has a so-called paper street behind it. So there's land behind that property that belongs to neither that resident nor the abutting resident on Fern Drive. And I wanted some assurance that the construction in question is actually on the owner's property and not on that paper street. Can we confirm that?
Yeah, I can confirm. It's
Okay,
it's not on the paper street.
okay. Is there a diagram or a map or anything like that to show the location on the property, or are you letting people see where it is? Okay, yeah, exactly like that. So, this, okay, so this Joe Lab is on the bottom here then, right? If I'm looking at this correct?
Sure. Yep.
And so you have,
So my measurements were from the back of our coop to where, if you look at the back of if you walk back through the woods in our house,
okay,
and you
yeah,
look to the if you look to the left and to the right, where the other properties end, I measured to that point, and that was about 60 feet.
okay. So the property line that you've listed on the top of the sheet is your
The
property.
line of the paper road, I believe.
Say again, please.
The property line that I drew at the top of the paper was what my estimate was to the edge of that paper road. Like
Okay, so that's where the paper road starts.
Yeah.
And then it would go off the top of the sheet.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, and so the construction here is 60 feet from that line to the back.
That was my estimate. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And the compost bedding, could you describe what that is?
Yeah, I built a fence, like a hardware cloth fence with fence posts, and I placed the compost and the chip, what do you call it? The wood chips from the coop inside.
Yep. Okay. So the purpose of the bedding compared to the structure, is that just where they lay?
Yeah, so if you look, if the person controlling the screen could scroll down. Yeah, so the bedding is found in that lofted area.
Yep.
It's wood chips that there's a wooden rod that they roost on when they sleep.
Mhm.
And that gets turned out every month or so.
Okay, so the compost bedding is just the supply to put into that area? Is that what that is?
No, that's after it's been used.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of okay. So after
I go to Tractor Supply and buy fresh wood
okay.
chips.
Okay, so that's where it gets composted afterwards. The
Yes, sir.
the wood chips bedding.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And yeah, all the laying takes place within the coop up here. And there's a door to open to take the eggs out. So the chickens are fully contained in the coop. They're never out of the coop.
And the entire coop is enclosed with hardware cloth that's, I think, 1/2 inch squares. So, and I've buried the hardware cloth fence down a foot all the way around the perimeter, and then laid pavers around that. So we haven't had any issues with rodents or foxes or fisher cats or anything like that.
Okay, yeah, sounds like you've been very conscientious about that. Out of curiosity, what's the height of that structure, roughly?
It's on the plans there. If you go up, if you scroll up, it's the height of the main run is 9.5 feet, and the run that I extended out the back is about 3 feet tall.
Okay, all right, thanks. Okay. One other question I had too was in the notification that you distributed, it says that you currently have 8 hens and no roosters.
Mhm.
And my question is, are there restrictions or requirements beyond that if you wanted to either have more hens, or in particular, Are you allowed to have a rooster?
No,
Oh,
so that
yeah.
is within our animal regulations that they're not allowed to have a rooster. However, the applicants are very aware of that. We've had that conversation. If at any point we get rooster complaints from any resident in town, we rely that to the animal inspector. They go out and give that information to the individuals with the permit.
Okay, so roosters in general aren't allowed.
No, they are not allowed in the town of Walpole, correct?
Oh, okay. And the
When
amount, the number of hens, is there any restriction on that either, or is there any limitation?
Nope. So they just each year they update how many animals they have with their animal permit. And so the animal inspector went out and determined that it was a great setup for the amount of hens that they have. So there's really no like limit that they have. They just have to make sure they have an appropriate setup for the number that they have.
Okay, and if at some point somebody deemed that it was an inappropriate amount, let's say they went from 8 to 50, would there be an opportunity to say, hey, we think that's too many, and then someone would say, yeah, you're right, that's too many? Or is that how the procedure would go? I'm not saying that would happen. I'm just trying to understand
Yeah.
the limitation.
Very good question, Dave. Very good question.
Yeah, so we have a close relationship with our animal inspectors in town, and they can go out and always determine that if that would be the case.
So would the animal inspector be able to establish now or provide an approximation of how many what would establish an upper limit to the current structure if we were to ask that person?
So I don't.
So the inspector is saying that 8 is fine. Would that person have some idea about?
So what they applied for was 8 chickens, and that's what they are housing right now. So if it
Right.
came a time where they were applying for more, then at that point in time, the animal inspector would go back out and reevaluate to make sure the structure was, in compliance for that number.
Oh, okay. I see. So in order for them to increase beyond 8, they have to request that, and then inspector comes out. Okay, they can't just go and buy 8 more without checking.
No, the
in.
permit that they're applying for right now is for 8.
Okay. Very good. I think that's the only questions I had. Dave Giampa, did you have any other questions?
Yes, I had a couple of issues in the past year and a half with the noise, the squawking in the morning. Sometimes I work late nights, and I sleep with my windows open in the summer. And last summer, and also this summer, I was no longer able to do that, to sleep with my windows open, because the noise was so much. It was like echoing off, bouncing off the back of my house. It's from early in the morning, and then on and off throughout the day, and right into the evening. And the other issue I have, besides the noise, is, and I've been putting up with this, like I said, for about a year and a half, and I wasn't aware that there was no permit. So the other issue I have is about 3 or 4 weeks ago, 4:30 in the morning, I was awakened by a pack of coyotes in my yard, and they were yelping and howling, and that's never happened before. And I've been here for 20 years, so that's another concern of mine. And I've also seen 2 fisher cats in my yard in the past year. So all those issues, but the main issue is, he should be more concerned with the animals in the neighborhood, but there's also children in the neighborhood that I'm concerned for too, if there's coyotes. And my concern myself is the noise, because I can no longer sleep in the morning with my windows open. It's just like echoing off the back of my house, and it's like, sometimes it's unbearable. I have to put my radio up loud so I won't hear it when I'm on my deck. So those are the issues that I have with the situation. And that's why I'm attending this meeting. I mean, it's basic. I don't think it's the right type of neighborhood, my own personal opinion, to have livestock.
So
So that's it.
Mr. Giampa, do you think that the the gathering of the coyotes and the Fisher cats are directly related to the
Oh,
presence of premises?
That would be my, yeah, that would be my opinion. I'm not, I mean, Henry might have a little more knowledge about that, but that's my opinion because I've never seen it before, and I'm on my deck all the time. So that's one of my concerns. And there's children in the neighborhood too. And it wasn't just like one coyote, there was a pack of them. And I don't know if anybody else heard it. It was probably 3 to 4 weeks ago.
Sorry to hear that. They do make a noise when they lay an egg.
No, this still goes beyond that. It's more than that. And I think you know what I'm talking about. It's a constant whatever noise the chickens make, and it's like I'm not gonna argue with you over the noise. I mean, if you live there, you would know the noise. Otherwise, you would have it closer to your house.
Is there any possibility moving the coop like further, like on a different on the opposite side of Mr. Giampa's property?
No, there's a high retaining wall that would prevent it from. It's already,
Yeah, it's positioned where it is because it had to be behind the swing set where our children play. We have 4 children ourselves and have not noticed any predators in our yard or had safety concerns since we got the chickens. I have seen coyotes in the neighborhood. I did see a Fisher cat once, both before and after the chickens were there, but not on our own property.
Are you in a highly wooded area?
A highly wooded area?
Wooded, yeah. Are there a
So
lot of woods?
there are woods where this paper road is between both homes. But overall, I would say it's not highly wooded. Would you agree, Dave, or what do you
No,
think?
it is definitely not highly wooded. Definitely not.
So I think if there's anyone else on the call that has questions, they can jump forward, but there's definitely a great buffer between the two. So now you're saying that there's actually wooded area between the home, the paper road, wooded area, and Dave's home?
I think the paper road is the wooded area.
Okay.
Yes.
So is there
yes.
anyone else on the call aside from Dave and David Clark that have any other concerns regarding this appointment tonight? And then I think we'll leave it to the board.
So my question is for Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark, do you have any issues with the noise, or is it only Mr. Giampa who's complaining of the noise?
I don't have specific issues with the noise. Most of my questions were answered, so that has not been a problem for me.
My house is a lot closer than Dave's house.
Yeah, it is.
My house is about 200 yards closer to 8 Joel Ave.
That's quite a ways. Yeah,
Well,
that's quite a ways.
well, it's definitely a concern. We don't want any of the abutter, and this is exactly why we we request that all the abutters are informed and notified, so that if there are any issues and concerns to be addressed to the Board of Health. So even if it's only one abutter complaining of the noise, we should definitely address that. I mean, we live in our houses, we want to enjoy our house. We don't, it's noise and other issues, anything that's disturbing, which should definitely be addressed. I'm not sure if any other board members would like to comment on this issue.
I mean, I think that
to submit.
What is there anything that we've done in the past regarding noise complaints, Melissa? For
No, so we've never denied a permit upon an initial application, as long as the applicant has submitted a full application, including manure management, notifying abutters, and obviously has a passing inspection from the animal inspector, which these applicants have done. So again, there was never an issue where we would issue a permit as long as they're adhering to all of the steps that are put forth, which they have. That being said, if it becomes a nuisance where there's a noise complaint, an odor, something that causes a public health concern and is not aligning or adhering with their permit application, then at that point, the board could potentially take action. But it's never upfront and forward because of possible concerns that could happen. I mean, there's many chicken permits in a lot smaller properties that are, actively taking place that the board approves. The board, we probably approve maybe 5 a month, give or take. So it's not abnormal for a chicken permit to come forth. And again, they are adhering to the application and they have been signed off on by the animal inspector. Again, if it becomes a nuisance, if there's a noise issue, a rooster is determined to be on the property, the applicant is notified and actions taken. But it seems like from the application that they put forth, it seems like they're very much on top of what they have in place. And again, the animal inspector did sign off on this.
Melissa, can I ask one question? Have this applicant have chickens for a while?
I'm not aware of that. This is the first time we're seeing the application.
So
Great.
we-
Mr. Jim, that the chicken has been on the premises for 1.5 years now.
Oh, yes, definitely.
yes.
And I was under the impression that it was already reported and approved and everything, but
So some people aren't aware, if they're new residents or even long-standing residents, that actually an animal permit is a thing. If it's not a horse or a large animal, a lot of people aren't aware that, having chickens does require a permit.
Yeah, that
No,
was
I knew that. I was just curious.
yeah, that was our mistake because when we decided we wanted chickens, we went to the animal control website on Walpole's for an animal permit, and I only saw dogs. So that was the mistake that I made.
So that there is a little discrepancy. So yeah, so animal inspector versus animal control officer, it is the same individual, but under two different departments. So you
Yeah.
are correct with that. So under the Board of Health falls the
Yeah.
animal inspector.
That was my mistake. But as soon as I got the notice about the complaint, I pulled the permits the next day. I was quick to.
I guess I have a question. I'm not an expert in chicken coops, but for the applicant, are you aware of any noise mitigation efforts that you could take in this case to help with some of the noise complaints that have come
Like
forward?
double insulating, or I don't know, there's a lot of things these days that.
I mean, when they're in the run, they're encaged, but they're in the open air. So.
Oh, when they're okay. Oh, I thought you said that they never out of the coop area.
They're not out of the run area, the enclosed. It's fenced in so that they can't get out and animals can't get in.
The run is a short, narrow tunnel that's fully caged that's attached to the coop.
Mhm.
But it is open to air because that
It's-
is how chicken coops are, except for the area where they sleep overnight is enclosed.
Is it possible to request that you enclose the chicken like from certain hours, like from I don't know, like Mr. Giampa, like usually, like what time do you usually get up in the morning? Maybe they can enclose
So
the chicken.
I think that's a little bit much to ask of a resident, especially if they're adhering to the guidelines of the permit application. I mean, people have lives, and if they're allowed to have these, permits and chickens on base, then I think that's not really a doable ask. And again, we have not heard of any nuisance complaints. So again, I think these applicants are following what they need to do to apply for a chicken permit to have them on their property.
But we already have one complaint, at least, Melissa. Mr. Jampa is complaining of the noise.
Sure, and the animal inspector has gone out since then and did not see any issues with the setup or the items on the property, or chickens rather, on the property.
I
Do
mean,
the Adlers wanna, I mean, does Mr. and Mrs. Adler wanna speak on this?
Yes, we actually live across the street, about 5 houses further down the road. So we're about 50 or 60 yards from the house. And we haven't heard any noise. And obviously the house itself, is between us and the chicken coop as well. So there, we're quite distant from the house. We haven't heard any noise as we walked up and down the street as we do. So we wouldn't have any complaints about it. We do have friends who live on Pemberton Street who have 5 chickens, and we often attend to them when our friends are away from the house. And it's usually just very mild cooing that we've ever heard from the chickens at our friend's coop. So we haven't had anything that we experienced the same kind of complaint that's been aired now.
I'd also like to say that in the past couple of years, we have had coyotes, and we've also had a Fisher cat come through our yard. We have woods behind our house, so
it's not an unusual occurrence to have those animals, coming through the area or the neighborhood.
we haven't seen a grouping of them, but I've seen
I
them
think-
in the yard.
I think the flock of turkeys in our neighborhood is louder than the chickens.
We agree.
Yeah, we have 20 turkeys that are in the back house, and they also frequent our bird feeders in the area. So, we quite agree.
I also just wanted to jump in on that. I live directly across the street from Ryan, and we occasionally can hear the chickens during the day. I have not experienced hearing them ever really late at night or very early in the morning. I also have 2 children. I've been in this area of Walpole my entire life, so 33 years, and I've been a part of this particular property for 33 years, and I have not seen a difference in the last year and a half on packs of coyote or wildlife. There's a humongous flock of turkeys that I would say is more of a nuisance than those chickens. We also have tons of raccoons that are back here. There's tons of wildlife. I don't think that these chickens in particular are attracting more wildlife or more aggressive wildlife. And I do just want to touch on the fact that Ryan and Andrea are very responsible pet owners, especially with these chickens, and they're very respectful as neighbors about it. We've been over there, we've been back there with our children, we've played in their yards. There's no odor that is repelling you or that you're going to notice from anywhere. And the sounds for us have almost been not even noticeable. And our kids go to bed, anywhere from 7 to 3 in the morning. So we're up at all hours and we haven't heard them. So I just wanted to also say that on our perspective.
Can we actually just have you state your full name and address, and as well the Adlers, just for our minutes?
Yes,
Sure.
the Adlers live at 13 Joel Avenue. Sometimes it's designated on our deed as 11A.
And then Kristen Sawyer, and I'm at 9 Joel.
So with that, I think we've heard comments from pretty much everybody. I think we have a good picture of the situation. I can make a motion real quick, but before I do so, I just encourage those on the call that, if moving forward, there's any questions, any concerns, that you do reach out to Melissa and her team to report those concerns so that the animal inspector can follow up accordingly. And then, also the applicants, if there's any issues that you might come across as far as noise complaints or anything like that, just to do your best to work with your neighbors to try and mitigate those issues as best as you can. But with that, I'll make a motion that the board, in regards to animal permit for 8 Joel Ave, the board approves the permit.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion's made in second, and we'll have a vote. So Rachel,
Aye.
Mona,
Aye.
Brenda,
Aye.
and I myself. That's motion, or the permit passes with 400. Great. Anything else we need to do, Melissa?
So just a few kind of other business items. So I know we spoke about the meeting schedule for November and December. So everyone on the call, feel free to stay on. We're just going to do a little bit more business, but that's about it. So the meeting for November and December, we typically meet once in those 2 months due to the holidays. I know when I emailed the board, I think it was today when Rich was emailing, it looks like the first 2 weeks in November are spoken for. So I know election day is the 7th, and it is strongly encouraged to not hold meetings that day to increase the numbers of individuals voting and not obviously watching our Board of Health meeting. And then the 14th, we do have our MRC meet and greet. And then that would lead us with the 21st and 28th. The 21st would be the week of Thanksgiving, and then obviously the 28th. So I let the board decide. I didn't hear back from Rich on whether one was better than the other. And then also the December meeting, it would be nice if we can choose it now, just because we are only meeting once in November. And again, if we get another animal permit, they do have the requirement to notify the abutters no more than 30 days, but no less than 14. So it's nice for them to know ahead of time when the December meeting is, so then that way they can get all their ducks in a row, no pun intended, on when they have to get all their paperwork in. So I don't know, does one of the dates in November work better than the other? This would probably be remote, I'm assuming.
So we're left out with the 21st and the 28th.
The 21st and the 28th would be the 2 Tuesdays left. It's only 4 Tuesdays that month.
I mean, I think the 28th would work better for me. I don't even know if I'm going to be here on the 21st. So, but
okay.
Neither's fine for me.
Okay, perfect. And then looking ahead to December.
So what was that date again?
So that's the November 28th. So it's not the week, the only week that's not taken, and that's not the Thanksgiving week. So it's the last week in December. So that being said, December is wide open. However, maybe it's up to the board, but stay away from the 5th because we would just have met the week before. And then obviously the day after Christmas would be the 26th. So maybe the 12th or the 19th, whatever works better for the board.
Neither.
And make it for the 12th. The 19th, I'm working night.
And I'll be in England on the 19th. So I would say the 12th.
The 12th. Okay, so 12. Perfect. So I have down November 28th and then December 12th for our meetings. If something changes, I mean, it's flexible. We only have to post 48 hours prior, but just for like permits that require, additional time, it's nice to have that. And then the only other items I had is, again, the meet and greet. So for those of you on the call, you should have received the link to RSCP. It's going to be a great training until help arrives. It's through the Norfolk Fire Sensation program. So they will be doing a training along with, we'll just do our normal MRC meet and greet. So from approximately 6 to 8, 6 to 6:30, we'll just be kind of like mingling, getting to know volunteers, maybe recruiting new volunteers, and then the presentation will start around 6:30. So that's on that. And then I just added a little item in for the William James interface. So that's a mental health program. You're probably all well aware. We've had it in the town since 2018. It's a very pricey contract. It is based on usage, which is a great thing because it means it is being utilized. However, coming up with funding every year, we're somewhat down to the wire. So I wanted to let the board know that we were able to secure another year contract with Interfaith. We were able to get funding from the Walpole Cooperative Bank, Dedham Savings Bank, the schools. The Board of Health has a line item in their budget for that, and then another grant from the schools as well. So we were able to sustain it. It will start contract cycle November 1st to the end of October of next year, 2024. So we're excited for that. And then, last but not least, flu clinics. We had a great turnout. We had a flu clinic this past Saturday, the 14th, at the Council on Aging. That was for the general public. And then we did it again yesterday at the Council on Aging, and that was for our senior population. So we vaccinated about 100 on Saturday and then about 150 yesterday. For those of you listening or potentially on the call now that maybe have family or friends that have not been vaccinated, Trish graciously is holding her clinics at the Old Town Hall every Tuesday from approximately 3 to 6. So if anyone's interested in still getting their flu shot, it is still available. You do need to pre-register, and the link to do so is on the Board of Health website on the left-hand side under flu vaccine registration. So we're excited for that. We are doing something new this year. We are going to the Walpole Housing locations for the seniors to vaccinate those that maybe potentially aren't able to get out, to bring the vaccine to them. So that's something new. So I thank you, Trish, for doing that. Hopefully it'll be a good turnout, and we'll see if potentially it's a program that we'll offer in the future as well. So hoping to vaccinate as many as we can. Does anyone have any questions at all?
I have one. Did the fire department do a drill this morning in the water?
The Walpole Fire Department?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
Clock's on. And clock's on.
Not that I'm aware of. They could have.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Trish, thank you for going to the housing. You're awesome.
She is awesome. Does anyone else have any questions or comments at all? Perfect.
I just wanted to, I think I was just checking my schedule while you guys were talking. The 28th, I'm not going to be able to attend the meeting due to work commitment. I'm sorry, but I'm definitely going to make it for the September, and I will definitely make it for the meet and greet event.
Perfect. That sounds good. As we get closer, I'll just confirm, obviously, that we have a quorum, but that's perfectly fine, Mona. We understand. And we're glad you're coming to the meet and greet. It should be a really good turnout. So if anyone has any questions or difficulties registering, let me know. It's just a link to an Evite, so it should be relatively easy. Perfect. All right, Stefan, I think we can close it out.
All right. So I'll make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I'll second that.
And we'll vote. Rachel?
Aye.
Brenda?
Aye.
Mona?
Aye.
And I myself, 400. And thank you. We'll see you at the next meeting.
Great job, Stefan. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Take care.